Okay, it's another day, and I'm going to continue where I stopped on the last video about science and the Bible. Now, today I'm going to be focusing on issues surrounding astronomy and extraterrestrial life. And okay, where did we stop last time? I think we stopped uh, somewhere on Mars, uh, looking at the work of NASA is doing on Mars. Of course, we don't have much data except the one that NASA provides. And I think that data is very important to be able to try to make up our minds on what we think. Now, those that have begun to explore space and the planets have something in mind. They are moved by something, and it is a worldview. And that worldview, we cannot remove that worldview from history, from astronomy that has been with man from the very inception. So we cannot remove the developments of today with that. Of course, if you're even concerned about the weather, you want to limit the amount of disasters, natural disasters that affect your environment. Of course, you would want to study the moon. Of course, you want to study the stars because they influence the weather patterns. So all those things combined with historical uh, uh, happenings, kind of contribute to the reason why human beings explore space. So, from where we stopped, we discover that um, recent observations from NASA, from the Mars, the NASA Reconnaissance Orbiter found on the NASA website, show that the speculation that there might be water ice on Mars, at the north poles of Mars, might not be very accurate based on the new data that has come out. It might be mud. And you find that one of the points I keep on making is that except there are people on Mars having the right equipment and the right access, there is very little that we can actually know about those places. And that is why some people want to explore Mars themselves. They want to go there themselves and explore it and find out whether it's really habitable. Rovers do a very good job. Robotic machines, they do a very good job, but they are not close enough to what a human being will do with the ordinary eye, with the hands to observe. So that is why people want to go there. Now, this uncertainty as to what we are really observing are some of the things that we theologians talk about when we say we cannot say that science has everything that we need. Science is very important. In fact, without science, humanity will return to the dark ages. Humanity will go back to genocidal acts, even worse than what we're seeing in Ukraine today, what we've ever seen in Syria, because human beings have that tendency. So science is very important, very, very important, but it is not absolute yet. It has not achieved whatever omnipotence we might want to attribute to it. Some scientists might want to attribute to science. And so, because of that, we have to, uh, along with the desire to improve science, we have to also investigate other aspects, which include the Bible. And the Bible was given to us by the Jews. So, this is just the issue. Of course, you have different cultures, like I mentioned, the Mayans, who also have their own records of what they believe were extraterrestrial contact. Astronomy is a rich tradition of the Eastern cultures and all that. But I am focusing today on the Bible. So we continue to see that the observation of interstellar space is even more uncertain uh, when you compare it. If we cannot know what is for sure what is on Mars until we explore it, we may not know what is in interstellar space. And for all we know most of the planets in our own solar system. But outside our solar system, they call that the interstellar space. And there's one NASA probe right now in interstellar space, but it's just on the fringes of our solar system. It hasn't really explored further than that. But they have discovered, with the help of telescopes like the Hubble, they've discovered systems that are close to ours, some far away from ours. Now, these one of these systems is the Alpha Centaury system. Closer to that is another system, the Trappist system. Now, the Alpha Centauri is just 4 light years away, and 4 light years is like impossible for you to get there. Not even 1 light year. It is such a phenomenal distance. You have to be traveling at the speed of light to get there in 4 years. And you know what the speed of light is all about. It is not something that the body can survive without some extra preparation. So 4 light years is, and we do not have the machine that can take us to Alpha Centauri even in 4 years or 4 light years. So we don't have the machines on Earth to be able to make such travel possible. If we were going to somewhere like Uranus and or to Titan, it would even take us about 9 years, from 5 to 9 years. And that is a lot of time on its own. Traveling at the normal speed of the machines we have today. And those machines will probably, people on board will probably die by the time you get to Alpha Centauri or the Trappist system. So it is the problem with observing distant planets. And for now, there is a very high possibility that we may not be observing certain things that are presently there on Alpha Centauri, whether planets that have life on them or not, and so I'm keeping a very open mind as to the presence of life in solar systems outside of our own solar system. And many people might ask the question on the religious allusion to heaven, as it were, and vis-a-vis our discussion about aliens and whether aliens are the same thing as angels. The Bible talks about angels and spirit beings, and the world talks about aliens, because there are many people who don't believe in what the Bible says. So, aliens. So is there extraterrestrial life out there? Are they the angels that the Bible is talking about? those questions come up. And when you talk about systems that are outside our solar system, the questions begin to expand. Are those systems the heaven that God is talking about? Are those systems the places where the book of Jude has said the sons of God who came to the earth were taken away and locked away in dungeons? Are those places where those sons of God have been taken to? And if you recall, I always use the story of the Tower of Babel as an example of that. The Tower of Babel was a structure that was being constructed by the people of the early times. After the death of Noah, the descendants of Noah, who inherited the earth after the flood, decided to begin to erect a structure, a skyscraper of sorts. And they believe that erecting this skyscraper will take them to heaven because it will be high enough to reach heaven. Now, why would they be thinking like that? You have to ask yourself that question. Because they did not have scientific knowledge. They did not know that at a particular height, it would be too cold and it would be too windy, and at a point you would not be able to breathe. And they assumed that just because they were able to create a new technology, and that new technology was baked clay, bricks. So they discovered bricks. And because they discovered bricks, they felt, okay, these bricks will be able to help us to build a kind of a stairwell, a staircase that will take us all the way to heaven. And they began. But of course, their understanding of engineering was not, of course, was just at the very primitive level. And so they could not actually achieve that feat. Of course, the pyramids are some of the relics of that culture, the Babelic culture. And you see, they wanted to replicate something they had seen, because they could not create flying objects, of course. They could not. That was all they had. They were ordinary human beings. And so they wanted to get, it's possible, they wanted to get to the moon because there was something on the moon at that time. It's possible. It's possible there was another planet orbiting the earth with another civilization living on it. There are many possibilities. That large planet, as it were, or large asteroid that hit the earth and caused the flood could have been that civilization that was destroyed. So there are many, many, many possibilities that are linked to historical data we do not have, but which are represented in those stories that we find in the Bible. So this is the problem now. So there is that possibility of a civilization somewhere in the Alpha Centaury system. There might not be. It is possible that God took them so far away that we cannot detect them, even with our best instruments. We cannot detect their presence. But we still wait to see that as time goes on. Maybe in our lifetime, maybe not. So we see that there are allusions in the Bible to the reuniting of these two civilizations, the heavenly civilization and the earthly civilization. We find that in Numbers chapter 29, verse 12 to 40. And we also find that in Revelations chapter 21, verses 1 down to the end. If you read that, you will discover, and 22 also, you will discover that those two civilizations, the heavenly and the earthly, will be reunited at a point in time. And there are very clear descriptions of a place that sounds awfully like Mars, awfully like a planet which is not like the Earth. So it may not be, because interpretation, most Christians believe that heaven is a spiritual place right here with us. So you just need to be translated from this physical space to the spiritual space to see heaven. That is valid, but there is still an open space in interpretation to really be sure about that. Is it possible that we are oversimplifying it, the concepts in the Bible? Is it possible that heaven is just another system far away where the throne of God is? And that is the thing that we need to see between the Bible and science, those interlocking concepts between the Bible and science. Of course, like I said, the Bible was not written by scientists. Science at that time had not yet developed. It was at the very ordinary level. Oil was used for cooking. The ordinary oil harvested from trees. Some oil was gotten from mining. As early as the time of Job, mining had been discovered. If you read the book of Job, you discover that people were mining deep into the earth crust, and they discovered a lot of things. Oil had been discovered. A type of oil had been discovered that was more powerful than cooking oil, that was used to create combustion very early during the time of the Israelites. And there was so much going on. There was so much going on. And it was considered magic. It wasn't considered science. So these are the things that we need to bear in mind, so that we do not lose perspective, so that we do not over glorify science at the expense of the historical data, because we want to throw away, or we don't like religion. And this is the problem that we keep on having to face, because we blind our eyes to the nature of human beings. And we then may lose hope, and we may create the problems that we do not want to create. So all these things are there in the Bible for us to research and to compare with contemporary evidence and make up our minds. So I have drawn a few diagrams on what we're talking about, and I want us to see. I hope I'm able to show you very clearly. Here is the Alpha Centaury system. You can look at it here. And here is the same Alpha Centauri, also called Proxima Centauri, from Chandra X-ray Observatory. You can see the two stars. It is made up of two stars. Okay, our solar system has only one star. That system is made up of two stars, and there's another star that orbits those two stars. It's called the Proxima Centauri. This is our solar system, and our solar system is 4 light years away from this very system. It's impossible to get there. Now, one thing that I always ask myself is, why is this Proxima Centauri orbiting these two stars? And it's a dwarf star. That means it is not as bright as they are, and emits a lot of very dangerous radiation. And so you look at this, and a lot of questions come to your mind, and you can really understand what is really going on. And so this is just what I want us to think about and to look at. I will still handle some other issues. That why is it important to study space? Why is it important for us, even as Christians, to have that paradigm shift away from just religion to more of science, more of trying to really understand what God is really saying. This is just what I want to handle in the next video. Thank you very much.